Hey VC, long time no see. So, pro tip, if you find yourself working from home, don't make the mistake that I did. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but I thought putting my desk in here in my listening room would be fantastic. What a great working environment, right? Yeah, it didn't work out so well. What you find is that you don't sit in your listening room on the weekends because your relaxation room becomes your work room. And then you turn around one day and realize it's been months since I've actually done a YouTube video. So last weekend, I did some major readjustments in my house and shifted a whole bunch of things around. And now I have my listening room back. It's all new decorated. My desk is elsewhere in the house, and my work from home is a lot different now. So don't make that mistake. Anyways, along that same vein though, for today's topic, I was going to go into something a little bit different. I see all the time, the top 5 accessories you have to have as a vinyl collector, things along those lines, things to get, our little tools, your dust brushes and all that kind of stuff. But nobody ever really shows some of the intermediate type stuff. So I'm going to go through a few things that I use as an intermediate level collector. Things I don't use very often, but tools, when I need them, are exceptionally helpful. And these are probably something you want to put in your own collection to have handy. One of the first things that I recommend most, again, as you know, if you watched any of my videos, I hang out on the R Vinyl Reddit and answer a lot of questions from people. And if you collect vintage equipment, if you're using vintage equipment, this stuff right here is an absolute must. Even if you don't use vintage equipment, every couple of years or so, it's worth going through and spraying down all of your electrical contacts and all of your pots. But deoxit is absolutely the first step and the number one maintenance thing that you need to do on a somewhat regular basis of your vintage equipment. For me, for my Macintosh equipment, probably every 6 months I need to spray down the pots on those things. It's pretty bad. For my Pioneer system that I have out in the living room, that can probably go 2 years before I need to hit it. But it's better to be preventative about it and do it ahead of time than it is to wait until you have a problem. Deoxit, number one investment if you have vintage equipment. Some of the other things, I mean, this one seems kind of obvious, but instead of just trying to figure things out as you go along, get yourself one of these and a scale. This is for aligning your cartridge. This is one of the nice mirrored ones that you can get off of Amazon. I think I paid like $8 for this. The scale, it actually came with 2 different sets of batteries and everything. I've never had anything more for the last, I don't know, 2.5 years probably. And this was, I think, $10, $15. If you want to be accurate, if you've got better equipment or you start upgrading to different cartridges and you're paying $200-300 for a stylus, well, make sure it's aligned correctly. Get the tools to do it right. It's not that expensive, and you really should have these around. Some of the other things, and actually this came up twice today, and that's who people have found themselves playing a record and suddenly found themselves with a locked groove, where it keeps playing the same groove over and over and over again. And they said they've watched it a bunch of times, but they can't seem to figure out what's going on. So a couple of little things that I recommend. This is the cheap and easy. This is a jeweler's loop, and you can buy one of these on Amazon. I think this one cost me $6. It has a blue light and it has a white light. As you can see, there's a magnifying lens on one side and the eyepiece on the other. This gets you about 60 times magnification. This is great for looking into the grooves to see if you have a piece of something stuck in there that you need to work its way out. For checking styluses, or if I need a little bit of a bigger view, I picked this up. And there's better ones. There's USB digital microscopes that you can get. This is just a little handheld that I picked up. It's got its own light. It does a pretty decent magnification, probably about 150 times. I use it mostly for checking styluses, to look for uneven wear and just to make sure that it's still seated properly. But this works for grooves as well. So the one thing, again, like I say, this came up a couple of times today in Reddit. But if you find yourself with a locked groove, basically sit there and watch the record spin around and get an idea of exactly where it is sticking on, where that needle is hitting that it's doing that, and then go over it with the jeweler's lube. Have some patience. This is not the best tool in the world. I mean, what do you want for $6, right? And like I say, this one was, I think, 15, something like that. But look around, and when you find the spot, you'll find one of two things. First of all, there will be something stuck in there. You'll find a grain of sand or something that's wedged itself into the groove that you need to get out. The other thing you'll find a lot of times is there might be a scratch or something physically damaging that groove. And what you'll see is within that groove, the side of the vinyl is actually sort of peeled itself down and is now blocking that groove. And you need to work that out so that the needle can go through again. Best thing for this is a plain old wooden toothpick. Just take a toothpick and go through it a couple of times. Dislodge whatever's in there, or that vinyl that's managed to damage itself and is parked itself into the groove. You just need to work it out so that it clears itself through. Run it through a few times after you've cleaned that out. Make sure that it's working properly and you'll be good to go. But you need to be able to find what's going on first. And that's where that jeweler's loupe and that microscope come in handy. The next thing, as you start getting bigger collections, you're going to need to start organizing, right? And I'm sure if you've gotten to that point and you're looking through, you'll find that record dividers are pretty damn expensive. A lot of places want $1.50 or $2 a piece just for a piece of plastic, so you can put A, B, C, D on there. What I decided to go with, and again, this is an Amazon purchase, instead of getting a full sheet, I just used these tabs here. A lot cheaper. I think they're 25 cents a piece. They work just as well. As you can see, I've got them in my shelves here. And just get yourself a paint pen and you'll be good to go. It's a lot cheaper, keeps things organized, and not only the ABCs, but also make sure you're doing other things. Like I got a Devo. What else we got in here? We got Chicago, various other things. Mark out your collection so that you can find things easier. There's nothing more frustrating than having to dig around for half an hour just to try and find a particular album you're looking for. And that brings me to one of the next ones, and this comes up quite a bit on Reddit as well. You know those old records that you buy? Maybe you found that one old jazz album in Goodwill or something, and it's like the find of the century. But the sleeve is falling apart, especially those old ones from the 50s and 60s. They didn't seal the edges of those record sleeves very well, and the cover's got a massive split in it. It may even just be flapping around. Well, there's an easy fix to that. This stuff right here. Seam Easy. They're not that expensive. Again, this is going to save your sleeves. It tucks itself away in nicely. I actually went looking for one of these. I know I've used this a few times. I can't find the ones that I did, and I don't remember which ones I did, because it seals it that well and it's that seamless that you don't even notice it anymore. So this is going to save yourself a lot of hassle. This is going to fix a lot of your split seamed falling apart record albums from old days, even the newer ones. I mean, whatever it might be. Super easy. They're self-adhesive. You just peel it, stick it on, fold it over, seal it. You're good to go. So that's what I have. I'm trying to make it short today. This is sort of my getting back on the horse and getting back into the habit of doing videos. And I hope that gave you some good tips and something that you can use for your own collection. And I'll see you on the flip side.